Hey everybody, what's up, Wavejump here, and as some of you may have heard, one of the major 1.13 snapshots is out. I don't know exactly if this is the first 1.13 snapshot, I think it might be, but this is a major 1.13 snapshot with a ton of changes, so I want to go ahead and cover this. I haven't really done a lot of research, so to be honest, this is kind of my almost also impressions of what this is, because I've actually been purposely staying away from like videos and stuff about this, because I want to go ahead and prevent like my video from seeming like it's copying other videos, as I'm aware that's something that could happen pretty easily. So let's see here. First off, something that's very interesting. Under video settings, there's a slider called full screen resolution. It lets you set your resolution when you're in full screen. Now, I might end up using this because, for example, what I could do is I could make it recording in 1280 by 720 at 60 frames per second, just, you know, in full screen. Recording, it would be fantastic, right? Instead of doing this. Also, I'm noticing off the bat, GUI scale has different options now. 1, 2, auto. To controls wise, let's see if there's anything new here. Of course, actually, no, those are my normal settings. It just seems weird to me. I don't see anything. Oh no. Let me go ahead 1 second, reset all of these settings, because of course I have to screw something up. I think we're actually good already. Oh wait, no, actually, I forgot one thing. There we go. This feels about right now. Okay, so that's it for options. There's some data pack changes, interestingly. Although I haven't really used those much, so I can't really say too much about them. By the way, sorry for the lag, given that the world's generating around me. So let's go ahead and try typing a command. Whoa, okay. Yeah, I actually, by the way, didn't even like try typing in any of this stuff like before the game. Like I literally went to 1.13, create a world, opened it up, and here this is. By the way, I should mention, we had multiple people suggest, or I had multiple people suggest to make an episode similar to this. So thank you to all of them. I will have their names up on screen right now. I think it's 2 or 3. But you know, also more could pop up before I upload this video. So if so, I'll have their names up there as well. Or I mean, before I edit this video. Okay, /help. Okay, this is pretty interesting because when I type /help, you know, so it gives this really weird thing where it gives you every single possible syntax for every single command. I'm assuming this is pretty rough, and that, you know, it's not like the final thing, but let's see. Say, for example, I wanted to do /help, I don't know, world border. That's pretty cool. It turns blue. Interesting. So it gives me that you could add center, damage amount, damage buffer, get set, warning, yeah, whatever. So I like that there's a lot of color coding here. Let's see, for example, if I were to do TP, I don't actually know how to use the new TP command. Help TP. TP is teleport. Okay, it says teleport, Wavejump games. Okay, let's do teleport, locate, or targets. So let's see, teleport at Wavejump games. So there's definitely different color coding here. And sorry about the lag there, but as you can see, there we go. We just teleport every entity to me. So that part seems about normal. Let's do kill at E, type equals not player. Does that work? Okay, it does work. Let's go ahead and get rid of those guys. Let's see here. Right, in target selectors, you could also put an MBT dot. I haven't played around with that yet, but I will at some point make a video on the MBT stuff. But of course, a lot of this stuff, the reason I'm not creating a command block tutorial out for this yet, of course, is because a lot of this stuff will probably change. The game library used for this has been updated, so it's to LWJGL3. Not really something that affects normal users, so you don't really need to know about that. Something kind of interesting that I noticed earlier is that when you go ahead and create a world, instead of saying like generating terrain or whatever, it actually says preparing spawn area. And what's so interesting to me about that is the fact that preparing spawn area is text that's used when you're generating a world on a server. So maybe the signal is a more like server-oriented thing. I'm not totally sure, but let's see if I were to do here slash whitelist. I noticed that there's also a whitelist section. So maybe what that also means is that if you open to LAN, it could have it more run like an actual server, or a vanilla server at least. But that'll be interesting to see. One thing that I've heard of also, one thing that I have seen is that the horse is apparently different. Let's go ahead here and grab spawn horse. And we'll look through and see texture changes in just a moment here, because I think there are some. And let's grab a saddle and some golden apples. And we may or may not, or is it golden? No, golden carrots, that's what I wanted. Although I think golden apples work anyways. Okay, anyways, you'll notice the horse texture is definitely different here. This case, it's a much smoother texture. It's a different, I feel like the height of the horse is different, but I could be wrong there. Let's see here. I don't notice much else different so far. And okay, I already have, the horse is my best friend apparently. I don't notice a lot in controls, although actually the controls do feel more responsive to me, definitely. This definitely feels like a much easier to control thing, which is fantastic because, you know, better controls is typically a good thing. Let's see. Okay, so a couple of command syntax changes. Let's take a look here. Well, first off, you can't mix up caps when typing a command. So for example, if you were to type /teleport in all caps, it won't recognize it. You have to do /teleport with no caps, which is really weird at all. Or sorry, no caps at all. That's really weird. So apparently also when it comes to the output of command block, typically I think this has to do with stats, but you would have this thing called success count. But now instead of success count, it says result, which is pretty interesting. And apparently also commands are a lot faster, which is good because for me, anything being faster in this game is fantastic. My frame rate actually is surprisingly decent right now. Oh, never mind. Okay, of course, as soon as I say that, things start crashing and we get weird artifacts like that. Okay, anyways, advancement test has been removed, interestingly. Clear has changed, so you might be used to clear, say, you know, Wavejump games, the item name, some data about it, the amount of it to clear, and then the MBT data. But now it's just clear, say Wavejump games, item, and count. As far as I know, NBT data is in a whole new thing. This is back from when I was doing my Minecraft is changing videos. But the NBT data is put as its own little separate thing after the target. So you don't have to add it specifically in any command. It's just kind of compatible with commands, which sounds interesting. Clone has changed. This is kind of a command I didn't really expect to change, but let's see. So instead of being clone, you know, location 1, location 2, and then yeah, some extra clone, you know, then you select your object using 2 sets of corners, then you select where it goes, then you would do like filtered or not, and then force or move or normal, and then block and data. But instead it'll be clone, you know, object, location, filter or not, block specifically, and then force move or normal. So it seems like clone, there's also another one that's changed. I'm not going to read it out because I feel like I'm going to bore you. It's a bit changed, and there's a lot of just, you know, really minor changes there. Now, here's something that really annoys me. So, in order to go ahead and say switch your game mode, you can no longer type game mode S, or game mode 0, or game mode 1, or game mode, you know, A. You have to do /game mode creative, for example, or game mode survival. This is a change that I absolutely despise because I use, say, game mode C a lot, or, you know, game mode 0, 1, or 2. For me, I just don't understand why you need to lengthen it. I could imagine it could partially have to do with speed, but at the same time, I would rather have the convenience of being able to type game mode C than speed. But I guess this is where plugins come in. We could do, say, /GMC. Anyways, difficulty has the same thing. So instead of doing difficulty 0 for peaceful, you have to do difficulty peaceful, which I don't mind that one as much because I don't run that command all the time. By the way, same for default game mode when it comes to typing out full game mode names. I'm going to stop moving around because I know some of you get bothered by that. Let's see. Effect is changed. This one I don't like as well because it just makes it longer and what I feel is unnecessary. So for example, to go ahead and give an effect to somebody, instead of doing effect, you know, for example, Wavejump games, speed, 2i5, 2i5, true or whatever, that's wrong. That's all wrong now. So you'd go effect, give Wavejump games, which, there we go, now the tab's working. Say speed, 255, 255, true. By the way, I do love that color coding though, I will admit. But there you go. So it's a bit different. And what's also interesting is I noticed the syntax that's suggested kind of changes as you're typing stuff in, which is kind of interesting. In order to clear effects, instead of doing effect, say Wavejump games clear, do effect clear Wavejump games, and then possibly the effect. Now I'm wondering actually if I were to go ahead here and run speed again, if I were to just go ahead and I believe it was like you set speed. Oh, interesting. So you can't set speed to 0 or anything. So remember, I might be wrong on this, but I feel like you used to be able to type like speed 0 and then it would go ahead and clear speed. But oh god, sorry. I know the audio is lagging right now, but effect clear Wavejump games. Okay, what's also annoying is that you can't press tab if something is lowercase. It has to be the correct case, which that is going to bother me to no end. The enchant command no longer exists. Instead, there's a new command called modify item, which actually hasn't been put into the game yet. So they removed the enchant command for a new command, but they haven't put the new command in yet. That makes sense. Okay. 1 minute. Let's clear the weather. Let's set the time to 0. And well, I did not mean to quit there. Anyways, next up here, execute. Now, for those of you who don't know, execute actually. Okay, well, my echo disactivated. For those of you who don't know, execute is one of the biggest, it's one of the most requested commands in terms of what people want covered. And partially the way I know that is because the 3 videos, maybe even 4 by this point, that I made on execute, or the 3 top viewed videos on my channel, people want to know about execute because it's a complicated command to many people, and they want to know. So execute is changed a lot, and we were talking about this originally again in the Minecraft changing video. So, for example, say I were to go ahead and summon a pig. Okay, there we go. Right? Summon new pig. That's kind of interesting. So what I do is execute. By the way, I don't like how that takes up my entire screen. I'm wondering if I decrease opacity, if that'll help. And I can't press escape to exit chat settings, which is weird. So let's execute. No, interestingly, so that doesn't help. All right, slash execute at e. Okay, so execute. You can't do that anymore. So for example, if I were to want to execute as the pig, I would do execute as pig. Actually, I need to do at e type equals pig still, I would assume. Type equals pig. And then you put the command. So let's do TP. Actually, teleport. No, interestingly. Okay, so that's interesting. It's not, it says change command. Oh, I see. So it kind of like you add these on top of each other. So I do execute as maybe at S, and then let's see, where do I put the actual command is my question. Run, it looks like. Okay, interesting. So now I would do, say, TP like that. A player is required to run this command here. Okay, so that's really interesting to me, because you'd expect, typically you'd be able to execute the pig and have it teleport itself up. Maybe TP at S1 up. No, players are required to run this command here. Okay, interesting. Let's say if I were to do instead type equals pig. So I guess you can't execute as like other entities. That sounds weird. I feel like I'm doing this wrong. Run kill at e type equals player. Okay, interesting. So TP at e type equals pig. Unknown command. Okay, I have to do I have to do TP Wavejump games ID type equals pig? Incorrect argument for command. Position. Oh, so I have to capitalize P pig. No, I don't. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Honestly, this is very confusing to me, and I don't like it. Look, and I get a lot of people say nobody likes change, and that's true. But honestly, some of these command changes just feel like they complicate things a lot to me. By the way, if you want to go ahead and see the 1.13 change, I'm not ending off the video for a little while. you go to minecraft.wikipedia.com/1.13 and go to changes section. Now, interestingly, similar to /tp, that's not the actual command anymore for experience. So usually you do /xp, for example, Wavejump games. I forgot about that. 1L, so XP would indicate, but also that's different now. So the syntax is different. So you do, for example, experience, add Wavejump games. I'm not sure why it's not letting me tab it, but let's go ahead and do 1 point. So you have to do 1 points, interestingly. Or I could do 1 levels. Interesting. I personally still liked when you're able to do like 1L, but apparently you can't do that anymore. Again, it's just I feel like a lot of this stuff is making it longer and harder than it needs to be, but I guess that's why I'm here. I'm here to teach you all how to do it. Experience set. Wavejump games. Amount, let's set myself to 10 levels. There we go, I'm at 10 levels now. Actually, I wonder, can I hear anything? There, let's do that. So let's see, say 30 levels. There we go. I didn't hear the experience time, but that could be because of my audio settings. I don't know. Or maybe it's just because it actually doesn't work anymore. So you could actually check for experience now as well. I don't think this is something you could do before. Experience query, Wavejump games, levels. So now I can see how many levels I have. Wavejump games with 30 experience levels. That could be genuinely useful if you could somehow store that to like scoreboard objectives and stuff. We'll see though. I don't know exactly how a lot of this is going to work because, everything in this game is changing is what it feels like. Fill has changed very similarly to clone. Function no longer works with if or unless. So in order to go ahead and do that type of thing, you have to go ahead and use execute. So for example, you would do beforehand. Anyways, it looks like function changed. I don't use function a lot. Although I don't play this game a lot anymore. Okay, game rule. So you used to be able to create custom game rules, and this was always really cool because you could go ahead and say create custom little things for maps or whatever, but that's no longer an option again, as with many other things. And toggle downfall apparently no longer works, so I have to do weather clear. That sucks. Toggle downfall was something I was used to, and now they got rid of that. I could learn to deal with weather clear though. All right, let's see here. Sorry about audio if it sounds really weird. Let's see here. Yeah, so game rule. So if I type game rule here, it looks like there are also possibly some new, I don't know if announce advances is new, but say for example I were to do, I don't know, example new 1. You can't do that anymore. It's an incorrect argument. That's annoying. I don't use it a lot though, honestly, so that's not a deal breaker for me. Give has changed. So NBT data and item data is changed, and where you put it, that again will be something that will be kind of annoying to me to get used to, especially given that I just made sure I really 100% do the syntax, and now they're changing it. Although granted, the give syntax was a mess, so it might be better this way. We'll see. I like how they are making a lot of this stuff unified. So you can no longer just like /kill. You have to do /kill an entity. So for example, typing /kill normally would just kill the player. You can't do that anymore. You'd have to do say kill at P, for example. I don't know. So I'm going to turn on game rule, keep inventory true. Okay. Let's see here. Location. Locate. So if you were to go ahead and find a location of, say, I don't know, let's find a temple. Or actually, no, let's do a village. Right. So if you type that now, it'll always show the height is at 64. So TP Wavejump games. Negative 1208, rate 64, negative 1016. There we go. Teleport Wavejump games entities. That is weird. Also, I think it would be pretty cool, just as a side note. Let me just by the way, teleport upwards a bunch. At least that still works. Although I don't like the thing it outputs in chat. That's just weird. You'll notice what it does is it'll go ahead and say, the nearest village is at that location. I think it would be really cool if you could just click on the location and have it automatically fill in a teleport command for you. I just feel like that would be a cool feature for the locate command. Anyways, off that tangent. let's see. So for locate, you could go ahead and store the data and execute store. But the thing is, the data stored will actually, oh, sorry, no, actually, let me really explain this. So what'll happen is when you run this in command block, as I mentioned, you get this result parameter instead of success count. And what this result parameter apparently does is it lets you go, it stores command data. So for example, if you were to do it with the locate command, it'll go ahead and tell you how far away that command is, or that structure is. So I guess execute store lets you go ahead and use results, which is kind of interesting. I'll have to figure that out at some point. Slash particle has changed. So what you would do, for example, so particle, I'm going to use the example on the Minecraft Gamepedia page. So say, for example, I do the block crack particle, right? And actually, I wonder if I could, no, you can't press tab, because you have to know them now, apparently. Unknown type Minecraft, what? Anyways, oh, I see. There we go, stone, right? And then in order to go ahead and add a variant to the stone, all I have to do is go variant, for example, smooth granite. Although it looks like that's actually something that should have equal sign and not a colon, because reasons. Okay, that one's fine though. And then I would say, for example, do it, here, and then speed count, force, whatever, all that stuff. And oh, I forgot a 0. There we go. Sling particle 37. But anyways, yeah, so in order to go do that, that's kind of how the NBT structuring works. I'm gonna do weather clear for a long time because this is getting annoying. Unless it's just the time. There you go, okay. Replace item. Syntax has changed. I'm gonna stop going every single syntax change, so I will make a video on that. Toggle downfall has been removed. What it says on the Minecraft Gamepedia was, it was always used to stop the rain, then make you frustrated in a minute when it's raining again. Which is true. But I did still like it. If you don't specify a time for weather, it'll set it for 5 minutes instead of being random. So that would explain the whole rain coming back thing. You can no longer do certain things with selectors. So you can't, for example, do level equals -10 or game mode equals green. You have to do, game mode equals creative or level equals 1 or whatever. Let's see here. So there's some interesting stuff with ranges. So, for example, say I wanted to go ahead and say execute at a level equals 10, right? And then run say hi. So because I don't have 10 levels, it doesn't do anything. Okay, and let me go ahead and actually copy that command so that I remember that. So I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go experience Wavejump game, or set Wavejump games 10 levels. Okay, so now if I run this again, there we go. You notice I said hi. Now what you could also do is you could do these things called ranges, and this is kind of cool because this will make it easier to go ahead and select multiple things. For example, if you wanted to go ahead and previously do a level is greater than 10, that's not exactly an easy thing to do. But now, for example, you could just do 10 ... and it'll be anything above 10. So if I were to go ahead and set it to 13 levels and run that again, it's fine. If I were to go ahead though and set it to like 9 levels, no entity was found. And you could do like 10 ... 12 to be between levels 10 and 12. Or 10, 11, and 12, if you were to rephrase that, or 5 ... which is anything 5 and above, or ... 15, which is anything 15 or below. And of course, you do have to. Oh, interesting. So this is some stuff that also I'm kind of annoyed at, but also some of them do make things more sensible. So, for instance, what you do before, for example, if you wanted to go ahead and test for somebody's game mode, you would do, test for at a equals 1 for game mode 1. But now you have to do game mode equals. So that'll lengthen command substantially, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. But at the same time, it does make it much more logical. And I think for me, that might be a good thing, because, or at least for new command blockers, I should say, because, you know, especially given that if you've seen my selectors videos, which I've done 2 of so far, there's a lot of random selectors and they're not exactly self-explanatory. So this might be helpful actually. You know, instead of typing L or LM, you just type level. R or RM, you do distance. R was one I actually liked because it was radius. And that, I don't know if distance is really the right word for it. I think radius would be a better way to phrase it, because, especially because that's what R was supposed to stand for, I believe. So I'm not very happy about the R one, especially because R was one that people pretty quickly figured out. Instead of C, you type limit, and then you could now go ahead and for like locations, for example, X, Y, and Z values, instead of just being able to type in, say, for example, X equals 5, Y equals, you know, 32, Z equals 9, you can now do like X equals 4.87, or, you know, Y equals 7.92, or Z equals 2.66, I don't know, just as an example here. Sorry, my Discord just went off. I'm just gonna try and okay. Blame Bete. Actually, this is a good time to thank Bete and Shadow on Patreon for supporting me. But if you want to consider supporting me, of course, go to patreon.com/Wavejump, and there you go. You can help support me in the videos that I do. Anyways, so you could also go ahead and do something called sort in selectors, it looks like. So you could do sort equals nearest. So for example, you know, that would sort by distance, or sort equals furthest, which will select things that are the furthest. So for example, if you want to select the furthest, I don't know, cow in the world, you would do, you know, or sorry, find the furthest cow in the world. I don't think sess4 is a command anymore, but you do is you do like, you know, test4 at e type equals cow, comma, sort equals furthest, instead of doing like c equals negative, you know, whatever, -5, for example. Sort equals random, so instead of that r, you could just do that. Sort equals arbitrary, just doesn't sort it, so that would be what you would usually have for add a or add e. Specifying scores is now different apparently. See, blocks, right? Okay, now let's see actually if there are any texture changes, because I know there are texture changes that were talked about, but I don't know how many have actually been changed as of this latest snapshot, because I've seen some stuff, for example, with Oakwood and whatever, but let's see here. Just so far, I don't really, oh yeah, they did, there was a new soul sand texture that was shown off. I don't know if it was actually put into the game. This is one of those few things I have seen, but yeah, no, this is the old soul sand, it looks like. But it would be interesting to see all these new textures in the game. So it looks like the textures haven't really put in yet. They're still being worked on, because if I were to say select the birch logs, or look at the birch logs, I think these are still the old birch logs. They're not updated. But I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, go and leave a like down below, subscribe if you haven't already, but if you sat through this entire thing, you're probably subscribed and just curious about command changes. Comment please down below if you got this far in the video, because the thing is, I won't make these long of videos if people, you know, don't let me know that they've watched this far. The reason for that is that, you know, I don't even know if anybody's watched the video, right? Because I can't tell really how many people watch the end. So anyways, let me know if you watched the end, please. I will keep you updated with 1.13, hopefully with shorter, less ridiculously long videos in the future. This will probably be a more minimally edited video, but we'll see depending on how I'm feeling when I go edit this video. And thanks for watching. Bye.